Free haps. I mean, you're right. You didn't have to say it, but like, right? You didn't have to say it, but yeah, I did have to say it. I'm ending the debate today, but I do want to genuinely say that I like had fun reading both series for a plethora of reasons. Whether it was like the right reasons or the wrong reasons, I did enjoy myself. But I did enjoy Aoashi more. I actually want to do a contrast and comparison of the two of them because I think that they have a lot of commonality and overlap in ways you may not expect, but they are kind of the antithesis to one another. So we are going to do that. So that's what I'm excited to talk about because they're both football manga that are kind of out at the same time. I think I think Blue Lock started later. I want to say like around 2018 because I think it kind of starts off by talking about what happened in Russia, so about 4 years ago. But I am caught up to both series all the way. When I like vanished off the earth for a little bit, I caught up to Blue Lock. I caught up to the Blue Lock Nagi side story. I caught up to Aoashi. I reread and caught up to Diano Ace Act 2, and yeah, so I actually like did quite a bit of reading, and I was cooking up some work, back here and stuff. So you have been warned if you care about spoilers. If spoilers are something, or if you're not caught up, this is your warning here because I am all the way into the latest chapter of both series, and I'm not. And you know me, I never hold back. So that's your warning. So let's get it. Yeah, ask away, ask away. So I want to say this before I get into anything. I think Al actually is the best football manga that I've read, or soccer for you heathens and bad people. Bad people say soccer, but it's the best one I've read. Area no Kishi had held that title for a really long time. It's called Night of the Arena in English, I believe, and its general premise is about, I believe, making a striker for Japan that could like save us or whatever. And there was two brothers, and basically, if I remember correctly, if I'm not wrong, there was an accident that happened, and essentially one brother had to transplant one part of their body into the other one so the other one could live, and that was the more talented of the two siblings. And then that other sibling has to go on and kind of embody both their dreams, having lived through the tragic accident. And I thought it was a really good premise to start the series with, and it had an emotional weight to it. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. So that was my favorite one for a long time. I have read Captain Tsubasa. I wanna say Inazuma 11 or something. I think that's wrong, but there was one when I was reading and they were going crazy, and that dude hit like 11 balls off the post and like kicked. I said, no, I'm not reading this. I can't do it. I can't do it. Can't do it. So I didn't like, yeah. So this sounds remarkably like Switch basketball manga. I haven't read Switch. There's a Danhua one that was recommended to me that I have saved. I'm gonna peep. If Switch is the one with the duck in, then I maybe what you're talking about. This the duck in, and then let's talk about the premise essentially. And then Giant Killing was the other one, but that kind of focused on a manager, so that was interesting in its own right. But you know what it is. Hey Bara, what's up? Do your thing. You could just lurk. I appreciate you coming through. So yeah, that was that. So this was the best one I've read. Now this might sound strange. I still believe we could take the football manga and anime to the next level. This isn't the one I've been waiting for. This still isn't the soccer series I've been waiting for. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's still good. Now let's start with how do you feel about Ashito making the switch? I loved it. I loved it. So the reason that I love the Switch, I guess we could start there. So Blue Lock is striker focused, right? So everybody in the Blue Lock facility is supposed to be a striker, with their main focus being on goal scoring, right? Isogi's a striker that passes the ball to an open teammate who bottles it. And Jinpachi ego kind of brings up the scenario, and he kind of thinking in his head that maybe if he was greedier, he would have got it in. And that's kind of the general premise to get him into the Blue Lock facility, and I'll come back to that. Ashito starts off as a striker, but he's very similar to Sawamura if you guys like Dino Ace, in the sense that he's a big fish in a small pond. He's got things about him that are are unique to him for the most part that would propel him to be a tremendous football player. But the environment that he's in is not going to foster that level of elite top tier play because he's playing with a bunch of his friends that just rely on him. The same way Sawamura was the only somewhat competent baseball player on his team, to the point that when he went to Sato, that dude he could bunt well, but he couldn't bat, he couldn't field, he couldn't catch. He had no knowledge. The same way with Ashito. And I think this is a very good premise when a character has like a talent or hidden thing about them physically or mentally they can do, but they haven't cultivated yet, and now they're in an environment where basically ever heard the phrase "steel sharpens steel" or like "iron sharpens iron." I think that's true. This one might be boring, but I had fun with a series called Days. You want to check it out? That was not familiar to me. Like that reminds me of Baby Steps. Like I like Baby Steps, but like the tennis is not that raw. I'm kind of here for the romance story, but remind me because I might forget that. So Ashito starts off as a striker, and even when he goes to like the new facility and stuff and the new team he's joining, he gets switched to fullback. Now, I personally think he's a central defensive midfielder, right? I think his defense is going to get legitimately better, and he can play make in that role. But unlike Blue Lock, they had to kind of reverse engineer him to not be so greedily fixated on scoring, because honestly, he doesn't have the natural skill set to be a great striker. But he has a great skill set to be a great defender and especially playmaker. Initially, I thought the coach was moving him there to teach him about different positions, different places on the pitch to kind of combine his game, because I thought for sure they were going to make him a midfielder, but an attacking midfielder for some reason. But I respect putting him in the back. What's up? What's up, Lost? So he's a fullback. He's a playmaking fullback with the ability to kind of come in and score. And he gained a love for being able to dissect the defense and send balls, through balls, and long balls right to where people need it. Like he enjoys that just as much if not more than goal scoring, and I love that for him. Because I was scared for a while if he's like couldn't just score at a whim when he wanted, he wouldn't enjoy the game of football. But he learned that there's so much more to it than just putting the ball in the back of the net. Now, different managers have different philosophies of how to play the game. Some people are like, oh, it's a beautiful game. It's the beautiful game. What's it? Is it why can I don't remember the Brazilian way of saying it, but like they have their different philosophies of how to play, like pressing, having people play classical roles. As the game modernizes and stuff, things change and whatnot. Something like it's a simple game. You put the ball in the back of the net more than the other team and you win. And some of them are like, you gotta have all of these intersecting things firing on all cylinders for it to work. So I'm not here to like rip on Ego Jinpachi's general philosophy, but I am going to kind of tell you where I have issues with it in a second. I don't know too much. I don't know too much about soccer, but Ashito doesn't have the technique and probably will never will, which is why they put him at fullback. There's that too. He's not super technically sound, and a lot of times if you're not the most technical player, they're gonna put you in the back like that. I didn't realize he wasn't that technically sound with trapping and whatnot until that became apparent. But you could also argue that it's not that he's bad at it. It's just that at the level to basically on the way to go pro, because you tend to start going pro for football at around the age of 16. It's not really like, oh, damn, I have to unpack this. Okay, let me remember what you just said. Okay, so I don't lose my spot. Okay, so I always argue the reason that like North America is very bad at football is because most football players are kind of put in facilities, put in training camps, put in like, do you guys know what La Masia is for like Barca? It's kind of like a football academy type thing where Messi was before he played for like the junior teams for Barca and then eventually the senior team for Barca with Ronaldinho and Eto'o and stuff like that. Like he went through those ranks, but he was very young. Ronaldo quit school at like 15 to focus on football. Might be a little earlier when he was in Madeira and he was poor. So it was football or nothing. I can't get my family out of here. We care about education and blah 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 and things of that nature. And by the time we're kind of ready to take the next step, we're usually about 18 plus. That's a little late because a lot of players are really getting it from 4 to like 16, and by the time they're 16, they're at least well known on the junior stage, on the junior World Cup international stage, or something of the sort, which holds them back. So just keep that in mind because it's actually a point that comes up in the manga later with Akutsu, which I love. So we'll get to that. So just wanted to point that out. So now so with that being said, I would just say Ashito is not as technically sound as somebody on the pro level, but if he's playing with like high schoolers or anybody else, he's nicer than them. He's got the technical skill to beat them. And a lot of times, if you don't have somebody kind of really foster that those techniques into you, you'll be behind. I actually could relate to him in that sense. Um, my left foot wasn't good until I was 18, and I was a physical player until I was about 16. I relied way more on my speed and body and athleticism and understanding things like that and instincts before I honed my technical skills like that. So I actually could relate to him in a lot of ways, and that's why I was usually on the back in the backs like that. This title spitting, Aoashi clear. Yep. What's up? What are you doing? Who are your favorite characters? Can be both Blue Lock, Aoashi. Put a pin in that. I'll answer in a second. Right. So what I'll do it. So yeah, I like that it's fullback focus. So as somebody who started off as a defender and then ended up being a winger and then became a midfielder, I think my best position is probably attacking or center defensive midfield. But I am fast, so putting him in the wings is always fine. Like I'm very comfortable no matter where you put me on in the pitch. I'm very comfortable with that. And I'm an all rounder in that stance, except keeper. I'm not a good goalie. I suck. I'm ass. For some reason, once you put me in net, I'm afraid of the ball. It's the weirdest thing. I'm like, so don't kick it at me, even though they're not trying to kick it at me or kick it away from me. I don't know what's wrong with me. As soon as I have to play net, I'll be afraid of the ball. Like, don't you blast that fucking shit at me, man. Leave me alone. So, yeah. Blue Lock is very striker focused and it's very self centered in terms of the characters are egotistical in nature and they actually don't unpack that, they lean into it. So basically, the more selfish you are in a lot of ways, the better. Ego's Jinpachi's philosophy is essentially that what you have to do is be selfish and be like an egotistical maniac to the point that you're so good and you're not afraid to showcase that because a lot of like American, North American, and other players from Europe and stuff when they do it, they beat their chest. They're like, I'm that nigga, yeah, X, Y, and Z. But like if you notice a lot of really talented Japanese players, they're never really arrogant. They're never showboaty. They kind of embody a lot of Japanese traditions and standards. So they'd be like, oh, like, hi, I'm just very happy to be here at the World Cup with my team, and they give you those political correct answers. The ego is like, that's holding us back. And me knowing what I know about football, I think it's an interesting starting point. I just think he takes it too much to the extreme. And as somebody who loves the game in all aspects, tackling, defense, goalkeeping, all of that, if it's only striker focused, it's kind of boring to me. I think that appeals to casuals. Like it's like with like I think like scoring and like basketball appears to the more casual people, but the people who really love the game will notice really good defensive schemes and breakdowns and things like that in the game and be like, man, do you see how Caruso has been keeping that player in check? You're not stealing or blocking him or whatever, but he's shooting 16% worse because he keeps angling him to this player. I could do that with football. So for me, if it's just about scoring, it's boring to me. Um, so my favorite character in Aoashi is Ashito, followed by I actually don't remember the coach's name. If you remember the coach's name, the one who played in La Liga, he'd be my second favorite character. And I can't lie to you guys, I went from hating Akutsu to being like, yo, I respect this guy. Like lay off Ashito and stop being a dickhead to him, but knowing what you come from, your relationship with your mother, and like seeing that relationship come and blossom, those will be my favorite three characters. I did not like him at first. Tripone, I think his name is. He's pretty dope too. I like him. I do think in a lot of ways he bodies the super like loyal minority trope a little bit, but it is what it is. That's fine. I don't expect Japan to know any better. It's cool, but when he put the fear of God being at a like the true top tier, top flight professional level in Ashito, that shit was crazy. That moved me. He said, "Bro, how did he score? How did he score that? How?" And he just broke down. That was beautiful. That was really good. For you, it goes Ashito, Kurabashi, and Akutsu. Uh, Kuribayashi is cool. He's kind of like an oddball, so I think I like the other Eagle Eye player a little bit more than him, but he's cool. I don't have any problem with him. I like the. I wish I remember the female character's name. I'm so sorry. I like the girl who wants to be a manager just a bit more than the other girl who wants to be like a doctor, kinesthetic, whatever. But they're both good characters, and I love how they support Ashito in their own ways. It means a lot to me. I think it's super dope. Yoshitsune honorable mention. I respect that. Um, what's the guy whose hair is like kind of like spiky in the middle and he styles it a certain way and he's always like when that one girl comes Tachibana's sister, he'd be like, hey, what's going on, babe, like how you doing, like, we about to go, like that guy. And he's like very calm and composed and technical, and I like him. He's one of my favorite characters. He grew on me too. Hanan Anari Otomo, there you go. I like him too. Sorry, y'all gonna have to carry me with names, so they're super dope. Yeah, Hannah and Henry are dope. I like them a lot too. I like the mother. Um, well, we can just kind of get into the next thing I'll talk through. So I think that all sports series come in different shapes and sizes. Some of them literally just focus on the games, just the sport. Nothing else matters. Some of them really, really show you training and working your way up. Dino Ace, High Q, and stuff like that, where there's a lot of matches. Don't get it wrong, but there's a lot of training, a lot of training for specific teams and scheming against them and stuff like that. And I think that some are fantastical and supernatural, some are realistic. I don't think there's inherently anything right or wrong about either. I'll speak for myself on this. The more I've played and understand the sport, the more I'm probably gonna want it to be realistic. But I'm cool with it being over the top, like a Kuroko or like the Prince of Tennis, even to the point where it's really like the game is relatively normal, but you add what I call anime science. Like if I hit the ball with this much top spin, do I believe that if it hit the ground, it would just roll? Sure, I'll give that to you. It won't bounce. So that's like for everybody has to temper that for themselves. I don't hate Blue Lock for being over the top fake. Like you can't do the shit that they're doing in that manga. It's really the dialogue that gets me. It kind of hurts. So the Atomo system chapter was hilarious. Ha! I remember that. So, Blue Lock, my issue in a lot of ways is that it just focuses on not even anything about it. It doesn't even focus on just like the game. It's football, right? But they're like locked in a dungeon, forced to play all these little like mini games and this and that and the third. Where I'm like, man, I really think this manga could benefit from having a proper like 90-minute official match. And when I got that, that's the most I've enjoyed Blue Lock. Rin's tongue hanging out, being like devour, kill my brother wasn't moving me. I'm gonna get to Barrow when I get to him. I cannot stand that guy. I think he's an absolute clown. Him stealing the ball and whatever. I get it, bro. I know they're locked in the facility. Yeah, I get it. But my point is, I want to see the beautiful game, not just like these 4-on-4s and playing against holograms and fake keepers and whatever. It just doesn't move me in that degree. And then having strikers being keeper and strikers being in mid in like defense is like, I don't know, but I always will say I understand the appeal of this. To me, this is kind of like Kuroko, but not as fun or not as cool. But now let me go to but that being said, I get the appeal and it's cool that they focus on it. But I like Aoashi so much more because I think it does the thing that matters the most to me. It focuses on the sport. So football is the main focus. Not just the game, the football, the training, coaching, going up from high school to junior youth to team B to team A to being called up. All of that's great, but there's all the ancillary outside things that have a trickle down and intersect with all of those other variable that main variable that make Aoashi way better than me. He doesn't come from a lot of money. he had worn out cleats that Akutsu kind of ragged him for, and his mom worked extra hard to give him that those new cleats. His brother worked extra time part time to give him money to pay for the tryout so he could even attempt to play for Esperion. Right? I like that kind of stuff. And that motivates him more to want to be a professional because he wants to get his family out of the rut that they're in. But he also has to learn, like, yo, going pro is not I just want to do it. Yeah, I'm sports MC. He's like, this shit's hard. It takes hard work, dedication, mental fortitude, and belief in yourself like you wouldn't believe. And people are going to hate on you like a kutsu and try to get you out the paint from the jump. And I admire that. There's even a love component with Anari and Hana. And it's not like not tickle butt romance. Like, they've admitted to him that they like him. I like that. That's those things could have an effect on him when he's playing a game if he's worried about the last conversation he's had with Hannah or her moving to Barcelona or Spain to learn Spanish and stuff like that. I think those are the moving parts around the central focus of the game that elevate sports manga to me to like the upper echelon. Bulak is so comical. The dialogue is so funny with how serious they take it. Devour, kill, kill. I knew Aoashi was the one when his mom gave him them boots. Yeah, and he has a pretty awkward relationship with his mom too, right? So that stuff is, and seeing him navigate and have to be a little bit socially calibrated to even talk and deal with girls and women and stuff like that. It's been fun to see. So I think that stuff's all important. I said this in another stream, but I want to bring this up again. I think a lot of these series really will really benefit and take off into the stratosphere with a relationship with the main character and somebody else, whether it's adversarial, kind of a rivalry, starts off adversarial, ends up being more amicable, whatever the case may be. I think that's very important. I say that basically, like, my biggest example in my head is Chris Senpai and Agent Sawamura from Dia no Ace. How that starts off, he's just like, yeah, you gotta pitch, you gotta do your thing, you gotta do it like this, blah blah. And he's like, man, I ain't gonna be like you. You trash, you suck, all these bunga bunga inga dinga. And he's like, yeah, they'll end up like me. Then he tells Miyuki, that guy's trash, and Miyuki's like, bro, do you know who that is? You know what he's been through? And then he sees that he's in rehab for the torn rotator cuff, and Samura breaks down and he apologizes, and he 180s to the point he's going overboard trying to get his affection. Like, Chris Senpai, here's some rice. I packed it to the top, and he's like, I'm gonna eat it, but leave me alone, bro. Like, I think these series really benefit from the good like that. I think Kagami Kuroko doesn't work. I think the Golden Pair maybe in like Prince of Tennis probably didn't need that to succeed, but I think your series is going to be really good if you have stuff like that. I did not expect the relationship of Ashito and Akutsu to go down the arc that it did. It's not even, forget adversarial. Akutsu is a prime-time hater. Oh my goodness, he be hating, bro. He came with he's like 20, this kid's like 15 with like the elbow drop on him when he first came to Esperion. Quit, you suck, you talentless, get off the fucking roster. Then he makes it to Team B. You're still here? You still didn't quit? I thought you would have quit once they put you to fullback because you're stupid, you're dumb, and you got no money. Like, just hooking him. Finds every single reason to bash him. Like, he is a prime time hater. Like, I'm impressed. Like, I could learn a thing or two from him. I'm a elite SS rank hater, but I could learn some things from him. At the time, I didn't know his character motivations in his background, but I still didn't like him. And seeing how slowly and surely, and don't get it twisted, they're not like buddy friends like Akutsu, Ashito, yeah. But you could understand that Akutsu understands what it is he's good at, what that brings to the team, and now that Akutsu has has to shoulder the responsibility of having a captain armband, he's got to take certain things seriously. I love when the coach bars him up because he's like, why didn't you help him? Like, what do you mean? Like, yo, you saw that he was messing up, breaking down. You could have directed him. And he's like, why didn't you fucking do it? Yo, you want me to put you on the bench and you'll never play again? I like, yo, talk to him. What is good with him? He saw that he was having a mental breakdown mid game, and you didn't basically you didn't help him. You didn't help your own teammate. You didn't encourage him. You're a piece of shit teammate. I think that is where the paradigm shift started. To the point, like he's like, you idiot, you're the only person who can do this. Now go goddamn use your eagle eyes to like pass the ball and do what you got to do. And I like that. And then they started having their little sessions talking about defense, formation, shifting, moving, not being out of position. When you go up to attack, you go all attack. But if you're going to be back to defend, you're all defense. I love how that comes full circle. I'm very excited to see where it goes. And you add to the fact that Kakutsu. Oh yeah, I want to get to this. This is very important. This is a super dope point that is brought up here, because depending on where you come from in the world, because you guys know that football is the most important, the most famous, popular sport on in the globe, on the globe. Wow, what's wrong with me today? On Earth, a lot of these Brazilian players and like players from like certain places, they really don't come from anything. All they have is like they don't get to eat well, and football is the only joy they have. So they're just playing it on the street all the time, and their talent in football is what is their key out of poverty, is their key out of there. In Japan, that's not, that hunger isn't there in that sense. But Akutsu went through a situation where that hunger was instilled to him because his mom was just a whore, just fucking around, not doing anything, not taking care of him, just going off with this man, that man, this man, the other man, paying him no mind. He's not really eating. His house is full of absolute garbage. Just not garbage, I mean literal trash, like uneaten food and throwing out stuff. And and because somebody gave him a chance, his only ticket out of that hellhole and to getting out of poverty was to go professional in football, which mirrors like a Ronaldo, mirrors like a lot of Brazilian players that were up and coming. And I'm like, I understand him so much better now, and I'm grateful for like, I liked that I hated him, and you made me come around on him. Can't say I like him, but I respect him, and he's one of my favorite characters. And that is how you do a brilliant character arc. And that relationship, I want to see where it goes, because I'm sure at some point she's going to be a better defender than him. So it's super dope. You said just like Noah. let's go back to Blue Lock for a second now. Okay, so Blue Lock doesn't have any of that. I would argue, and maybe you guys can tell me another one if you think. I think Rio and Nagi are probably the closest thing to like a meaningful duo in the series, where they kind of like each other, to kind of get along, and they have like rapport and history and stuff like that. But I don't think Asogi really has that with anybody. You could say he has a synergy and affinity, and he's in competition with Block Z, but there's no such relationship in Blue Lock, and I think it would benefit a lot from that. Like, you ever think about the fact that these parents just had their kid not go to school and get locked in this facility? Like, no parents aren't worried. I guess Rin and his brother could be another one if you want, but like, I think that series would benefit a bit more from those other things. But let me tell you how they circumvent a lot of those like, I guess, other issues, because it is a different series and its presentation is different. Because I don't want to just poop on Blue Lock, because there's other things that Blue Lock does that I actually like. And I'll give you one in terms of general aesthetics of the game and how things look. I think Blue Lock is cooler, and I really like when Asogi is thinking and those puzzle pieces are flying around when he's using his mind's eye, whatever. I think the way they panel it with the puzzle and like the last piece in his brain to see it, I think that's super dope. I really like that. Like, it looks really good. It's very flashy, very well drawn. And Nagi's traps be going stupid. This is a series that a lot of characters kind of get eliminated, kicked out, and they got to go and shit like that. As a result of that, I think they have to go up and up, beyond and above, to make every character stand out in a meaningful fashion. Thus, they all have over the top personalities that are exaggerated. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing inherently wrong, good or bad about that. It's all about how you use it. So you have like the pretty boy, the muscle, the oh my god, I'm so shy, please don't look at me, oh my god, like all those types of personality archetypes, to like help them be memorable in case you don't really see them often or they get kicked out or eliminated. That is how they circumvented a lot of these things because they're not going to get a chance to be like me and you together all the way to the end of Blue Lock because we're going to become adversaries. And this is a series that feeds into selfishness, not selflessness, right? So, um, the U20 match was fun. I think that's the best part of of Blue Lock. Isagi, shut up, genius. I'm about to go get to the good part. Yeah, the puzzle pieces are great. Isagi and Bachiru, I think that's Dribbler Merchant. I think that's probably fair, but yeah, and they start off with like together. They eliminate the jewel of Japan or whatever. So you can do that, but now you're getting ready to keep me coming back to the manga. All right, fair enough. So that's kind of I don't think they really have one that's really meaningful and impactful, but maybe there's like there's some more superficial stuff there, but as far as characters go, I think the ones in Aoashi are much better, well rounded, and more interesting to me. But I don't think because characters are dynamic and other ones are more static in nature that makes them inherently good or bad. Like sometimes people's like, oh, this character's not good because they didn't develop, and I'm like, but what if they're a static character? They're not meant to do that. And if they have a flat character arc, you get what I'm saying? So I'm not doing that thing where I'm trying to say like one's better than the other, but yeah. I also really enjoyed their version of the zone, the flow. Yeah, makes sense to me. And isn't easily usability. Zone and Kuroko and flow and stuff like that. I've always liked it. Like they make it a power up, but like the concept of being very locked in and focused, and you're not thinking and you're just doing everything. The eternal Tao, law of reverse effort, blah blah blah. Like that's real. So I like that. Totally agree. I feel you. So, um, yeah, Blue Lock's style of presenting characters and character interpersonal relationships is just different. And now let's kind of talk about now. I want to talk about some overlap where I believe that they have a lot of similarities. I actually think Ashito and Asogi are similar in the sense that they're not physical specimens in terms of power, speed, explosiveness, agility, resiliency, um, like all those stuff, all those things, and they're cerebral. They're constantly thinking. Well, I say cerebral, like Ashito is not smart in a general sense, but he's thinking a lot when he's playing nowadays, especially since he's got in the right environment. He's got the eagle eye, which allows him to see basically the entire pitch and know where everyone is and their movements and where they're going to be, and he always knows where to make the right passes and stuff. The same way the mind's eye and the puzzle pieces and stuff the Sogi's flying around, where they use their mental fortitude and I guess you could see their vision, their scope of the field, and play reading and making ability to dominate or be good. And I like that. That's where they overlap in my opinion. Okay, I'm finally buying the I'm finally buying the game knowledge. Eagle Eye's a real thing though, like which savage stuff is real. Well, the thing is I think when they explain it, where like they somehow have a bird's eye view. Obviously, I don't have that, so I can't say that. I also thought that's probably a little supernatural. But yes, they talk about the test where I can't remember exactly what it is what Shavi did. He looked at something and like he was able to recount everything, and he has like eidetic photographic memory. Oh yeah, that's the other thing that Ashito has. I don't know if I've never known for sure that these are different things, but I think they are. I think he has eidetic and photographic memory. I think because I think there's a test with Togashi where he's like the three signs in Shibuya or whatever. What's on them and what color? And he's like, I don't fucking know. And she was like red, blue, green. This is the Pepsi one. This is this one. This is that one. I'm like, oh, I can't do that. So photographic, okay. I don't know if eidetic's different, but it's interesting to think about. But the game knowledge part of Ashito and stuff is cool. I never knew the bird's eye view thing was a real. That's a real because it sounds like when people say they can taste music, like those super geniuses and people who could like, yo, I could taste music. I can when I play by piano, I can see music. I'm like, see music? What is he talking about? I don't have that ability. Um, I'm a really good ball distributor and I'm a good playmaker and stuff, but I don't have that. I don't have that. I don't have the mind's eye. I also don't think that much. I play on intuition and instinct a lot more. But that's one of the overlaps that I think that they have. The main character's kind of way of playing the game and the way they think about stuff. I'll actually grade that Blue Lock is showing ball. That's what I was talking about. I agree. I think Blue Lock just appeals to kind of like the more casual audience in a sense, or people who don't really care about football but they want something kind of cool that's related to football. I get it, but I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at its existence. It's fine, but There's another overlap that I had that I want to talk about, but for some reason it's not coming to me. But um, I guess I'll just go back to the contrast and stuff. 'Cause I want to get to this because I think this is interesting about the two about the two series when you talk about them. So I'm caught up to both. Yes, I'm all the way caught up to both. In the manga, I literally even just I even am caught up to the Nagi side story when it starts out with him and Rio in Blue Lock. I'm talking about in the school. He traps the phone and they start playing before they get into the facility. But I'm caught up on both all the way. So the thing that I like the most about these two, I guess okay. Actually, I remember where I wanted to go now. There's a commonality where both of these manga talk about like the Bundesliga, La Liga, like the English Premier League or Liga and Serie A and like stuff like that. And they reference real players like Xavi, Iniesta, I believe was referenced, Cristiano Ronaldo, and other ones. We all know that Kylian Mbappe, Julian Loki is like literally in Blue Lock and stuff. But so you saw Protagonism Masterpiece. Yeah, those Transaction on series. I saw everything, bro. I saw everything. I'm caught up, man. I'm all the way. They both talk about it, but Aoashi kind of does it better, in my opinion, and they also does it in a way that I think like if you don't know much about football, you could learn a lot from this manga. Especially if you're like, is that true? You can fact check it. I think you learn a lot more because I think this manga embodies a lot more of the pathway to becoming a professional in terms of playing in youth, having to play for a B squad, then going to an A squad, getting called up. You get called up, you get a taste of that next level, and it's like, hey man, like we'll call you back up if the situation is right or whatever, but go back down and polish your skills more. The fact that Esprion plays in a more like traditional league in a sense. You have your 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, zero for a loss, and if you're the top of the chart by the end of the season, you lift the silverware. I like that. Like I said, Blue Lock is more focused on small little mini games and psychological games to make players more selfish and more goal hungry, I suppose. Where Aoashi doesn't do that, and I like that. I think you can learn a lot, and you also see a lot. They both have foreign players, but you even see foreign players on Japanese soil playing for the professional teams. Like I think there's a Croatian and stuff like that. We know Tripone. I think he's actually like half Japanese too, but still, and his bro, like that was really dope. So that's cool. So you're fully locked in, yeah. I'm loving it. I really love Shiba and his entire role, especially how he essentially raised all of Esperion. Yeah, that's a 40-year player. Yes, I like him a lot too. Yes, they're half Nippon, half glorious Nippon Japanese steel. So that is something I like about Aoashi. I think you could learn a lot because I just think like then like this is more in line with like I think more realistic things about football more than like the fantastical parts. But I like that they both still have like they still talk about like real players and things of that nature. Super cool. Even though Noel Noah is supposed to be better than Ronaldo and Messi, I'm like gap. Anywho, so what was the next thing I wanted to say? Blue Lock is more of a crazy training camp for strikers. Yeah, I would. There's a possibility that they still play more official games. I would like to see that, but yeah, that's what it is. It's like striker boot camp. Sacrifice 299. Let's talk about the philosophies of these mangas because this is where I think their contrast is the most interesting. They're both like the antithesis to one another. Blue Lock is about selfishness, egotistical play, and scoring goals where Al actually is about selfless play. Not there's nothing wrong with having self confidence, being a little arrogant and believing what you can do, but never at the detriment of the team. And to highlight this point, I'm about to cook the worst character in Blue Lock. He is the worst player. I know we decided he was second worst. I'm still gonna say worst player in Blue Lock, and that is the guy who calls himself the King. Barou. Barou. That's gotta be the most retarded nigga I've ever seen in my life that play football. Oh my god, he's stupid. Oh my god, he stinks. Oh my god, why does he think he's that dude? What is the reason? Yo, scoring 10 goals to lose and get kicked out is not the way. If you got to score 6 to win, okay. But this guy sucks. He's so ass. Charge dribble? Bro, how many times has he run to somebody with a character with his build and he's like, ow, I can't move him. Why is he so he sucks? Why is he so cocky? He's trash. I seen so many people stop him. He went up against Ishigo. Sorry, I remember his name. He went in the room, the wild card room, and then he came out. I'm the new Noah ambidextrous feed. That was stupid, by the way. Yeah. He goes, there's a guy who's like, I'm shy. I don't know. He's like, oh, how strong was this guy's body? I'm like, this guy runs into somebody with a remotely athletic build and he can't body him. Charge dribble. Oh, this is my radius. He stinks. He's so fucking ass, and I can't believe he's still here thriving. I don't respect it. And here's the next thing too. They did the Byakuya thing. I laugh. One of my favorite parts of the Fullbring arc, which is a comedy. If you don't see the Fullbring arc for the comedic genius that it is in Bleach, I just don't know what to tell you. Remember the Book of the End, Tsukishima, the guy who can exert himself into your past. So remember when Byakuya, he used the like no whatever zone. He grabbed his own blade pedals and chucked it through his chest, and they tried to act like it was actually such a genius move because as an elegant noble of one of the 4 houses, for him to stoop to such a strategy, I'm like, if you guys don't get that bullshit the fuck out my face. Talk about it's actually so genius because he wouldn't do that. Miss me with that. They do something similar with Barreau where it's like he's so stupid about how he plays the fucking game. I don't know why I censored myself there. The fucking game by like stealing the ball, they use that to their advantage because it throws off the other team. Are we serious? This is what we're doing? Wait, what? His own teammate? But, he's like, damn it, he devoured him, but they didn't. Yo, get that shit the entire fuck out my face. Don't ever do that shit. Don't ever put that shit in my face again. It is ass. Garbage. Barreau is not good. If you're gonna be like that selfish, you better be like Holland levels or Ronaldo the Phenomenal levels of prolific. If not, shut up. No, anywho, I'm gonna calm down because I got more bars for him. I'll be back later for him. But anyways, let me see. One thing I like about Blue Lock is he plays like Messi is a symbol of selfishness, but Messi isn't a selfish player as far as I know. He doesn't usually have someone assist in the seasons. Well, I'm gonna comment that in a second, but I think the point is that even though his ego isn't like Ronaldo, like see, he has extreme self-competence and an ego. He does have a ego, but he's not an unselfish player. I totally agree with that. That is correct. They're playing in the U20 probably after this current arc. I like that. The Donkey Barreau top 1 in rankings right now. He's not better than Rin. He's not better than Demon Kun, but we'll talk about that. Nagi currently also top 5. He's the fake genius, but I get it. Heias Naya Shito equal Nico IMO. Even their hair is similar. That could be a more apt comparison. He was talking about I think Nico's the guy who's like hair is kind of covering himself. All I'm saying is Messi got too many assists to be a paragon of selfishness. Oh, I get that. That's fair. Where was I? Philosophy of Blue Lock for me now is worthless because it emphasizes Japan lost in 2018, where that philosophy is impossible to work in modern football. If it was the older 80s, 90s, or 2000s, in theory it's possible. That's why the classic 10s like Raquelme existed. Now the position is gone because of the place. Yeah, because we talk about false 10s. Of false 10s, false 9s, a classic 9. Like the modern game has changed a lot to the point that you, even as a striker, you can't just, unless you're like insanely out this world prolific and that team is going to cater to that, you still got to press. You still got to drop back. So you're totally right. Blue Lock is all right to me, but I absolutely hate when the teammates play against each other, like Kaiser and Isagi. Yes, Kaiser's another bozo, by the way. I don't like him. Sometimes characters don't think good, like that one time Rin scored on the free kick and a corner kick, and Isagi couldn't figure out that dude who likened football to a battlefield with the best kicking technique would try scoring. Think more. Yeah, I hear you. So, okay. What was I saying before I was talking about Barrow stinking up the place. Okay, so I'm talking about the kind of philosophies of both manga, right? So Ashito gets kind of rewired to not be so goal scoring oriented and selfish in that nature where you will leave the defense open, blah blah yada yada. I like that. It emphasizes team play and whatnot, but there's nothing wrong with you being really good at your role and want to excel it to the best of your ability. Now I want to talk about ego for a second, Jinpachi. Because in a lot of ways, I still think the general baseline premise for building up the blue lock kind of mindset is interesting. When I think about Japan on an international stage, what how Japanese people tend to be in terms of meekness and it's not me being distant by. I'm not trying to diss them. Being more meek and reserved and hi, I'm just happy to be here at the World Cup. Thank you for having us. We're very proud of blah blah. But if you see like someone else, you'd be like, I'm the GOAT. You see that shit? Yeah, like they're not like that. So I'm like, it's interesting to think about, but he just takes it way too far and it's illogical. And me and Miles and other people have talked about like, so wait a minute, if I'm the second best player in Blue Lock, you're not gonna, I'm not gonna be on the team. You're gonna have some other bum ass striker there. And then I think I can't remember who brought up the point. Like, what if he gets injured? What if you do all that for the Blue Lock like champion to get injured? But anywho, my ego myself as a football player, I think is in a weird way is greedier than the people in Blue Lock. I started off as a defender. I could play anywhere in the pitch except goalkeeper. I think I said it earlier, but I started off as a defender. That's where I started. Um, Left. No, I was on the right more often than not. Than center. Back in the day, we used to have something called a sweeper, who always stayed back no matter what. If you didn't play an offside traps, I used to play sweeper sometimes. So three of my defenders would push up to like the middle, and I'd be behind them in the middle. So I played sweeper before. Then I basically, long story short, I evolved into a midfielder that's more more defensive oriented. I could score. The goal scoring isn't my natural thing. It's more so playmaking. Now that being said, sorry. Doesn't matter because the core of the series is supposed to be like, maybe drop it. This year's Man City's a perfect example of Holland not working unless you cater the system too for him. Yeah, he's very prolific, but if you're not gonna like make him the center focus because he is seen as more. I think someone said Fox in the box. I have to see him play more to know that, but he does score pretty close to the net more often than not. He's very prolific in front of there. He's clinical, but yeah, it's hard because City had to change a lot of the stuff they had to do. Now, I love that meme with the cat with Kevin De Bruyne pass, Erling Haaland header. I love that meme, but I'm with you on there. I'm with you on that, Jackal. What was I saying? What was I saying? Ego, Japachi, egoism. Okay, if I was in Blue Lock, I probably wouldn't be here, and I'd probably just leave. And I'd be interested in him a little bit, but I'd probably be like, I'm greedy. I'm so greedy that I want to see myself personally on the top of every chart. That's kilometers ran, goals scored, assists, passing into like the attack, into progressive passes to the attacking third, tackles, 1-on-ones. People I beat 1-on-1, game time, efficiency. Um, he doesn't need he doesn't need 10 shots for one goal, stuff like that. Like he doesn't lose the ball. He's not careless. He's very mentally tough. You know, I want to be at the top of every chart, not just goal scoring, assist, tackles, all of that. So I'm almost like looking at you going like you might not be going far enough for me. I don't just want to score goals. I'm out of here, bro. I'm trying to score goals. I'm trying to drop dimes, and I like being the brain of the team, breaking them down, keeping them, shutting out other players that I think they're nice, and then sending the ball right to my strikers in the right position. I enjoy that way more than I enjoy scoring. In a weird way, I'm completely flipped with basketball and soccer. Not that I'm a hooper in that sense, but like and when I hoop, I'm a scorer before anything else, and that's the thing I like to do the most: score and rebound. In football, that's not the case. I like to defend a lot of football too. Holland did not have a couple of great assists this season. I think he might turn great in a couple of years with Pep. He might be some time. How old is he? Like 22, right? Holland's like 22, right? I think he's 2 years younger than Mbappe and whatnot. I think he's good. I don't dislike him or anything. He's a pressing poacher who works insane in transition. Problem this year, he has to adapt to low blocks. That's true. 'Cause I do think he comes back a bit more. Because Mbappe, for what I've seen, he doesn't really track back very far. He kind of just focuses completely on offense and whatnot. But Holland's good, man. I like him. He's good. It's just not that sexy to me. It's not sexy, but it's damn, it's effective. But he's gonna be good, man. But I'm on the Mbappe side. Y'all know I like Kiki. It's my boy. Okay, so the philosophy. So yeah. Anyways, Al actually preaches more teamwork and selflessness. There's even an egoist chapter where they kind of unwind someone's ego a little bit, while Blue Lock leads into it, and that's why I think that ultimately, from top to bottom, they're so interesting to me to compare, and I like seeing the comment sections in the I was seeing them talking about it. Oh, Ashi, so fucking boring. How could you read this stuff? And I'm like, I don't have a horse in this race. I don't care what you think necessarily, but I'm gonna watch the anime for them too and see if I like how they're animated. Cause I did also watch the Eren Okishi anime. I think there's an anime for that. I don't think it got far, but I think I watched that. Because for most sports manga, like I'll watch the anime too, like Haikyuu and stuff. Mbappe has 3 times less defensive action than Messi, and Messi barely press or do any defensive work. Yeah, Mbappe doesn't really play defense like that. Messi's a different. I've seen Messi play like from the kind of attacking midfielder and drop back and bring the ball up to be more of a classical 9, to being on the wings. Like him and Ronaldo and some other players have evolved a lot in very menial ways if you kind of watch them. From when Messi was wearing them, I always forget. Was it? He wore 19, 10, then 30. I think if I remember correctly. Pep's gonna mold him into a better Lewandowski. It's the same when he came to Bayern with Louis for Ashito. I love how they actually make him into an introverted wingback, which is what I like to see in a football manager. Yeah, because like you said, you missed a whole hour. Yeah, man, you did. I'm sorry, but yeah, it was beautiful to me because at first I don't know if you thought this, Jocko. I thought the coach was like playing mind games with him, maybe to think like the same way Shogun or Boss from like Daya would like test you, like, do you really want to pitch? Do you want to play something else? Like, no, like to test your resolve, like how badly do you want this specific role as a catcher or as a pitcher or whatever. So I thought him telling him switching to fullback might have been like a mind game thing, or to teach him all aspects of the field to eventually make him a playmaker. But I actually like him being a fullback. So that's super dope. 30, 19, 10 in Barca, now 30 in PSG. She. What's your favorite match now? Ashi, mine would have to be the one against Kitano Ren and Amori. Is Kitano Ren the other under 16 like super dude with the eagle eye himself? Cause that's a really good match. But I like the one with Tripone and his brother, where Ashito kind of has that breakdown when he gets that incredible goal when he's being marked. And he's like, bro, what? How did he score that? This is the top? And I think that's the game where he was trying to grasp something. He was saying, like, I almost have it. Like, whatever I'm missing is it's here. Like, I'm trying to get it. That was my favorite match. That was really good. That's the one that moved me the most. Yeah, those are top 2 for you? Yeah, that one was crazy, man. Because even when he scored that, I said, if you scored that on me, like, I don't have mental breakdowns like that, but I'd have been like, what the fuck? Like, I'd look at you like, I have to destroy him. I have to devour it. I have to devour him. So yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really wanted to say. Supporting characters, I think, are more interesting in Aoashi. I like them a lot. I like the team a lot. Blue Lock is not as far, I guess, so there's still more they can do, but I still like the other ancillary things in Aoashi, like Hannah and Annery and his mom and his brother, and the fact that the coach actually played in La Liga, and we get to learn why Thing knows Spanish. I think Hannah knows a bit of Spanish, why he knows Spanish, and also why he could what the hell was it? Oh yeah, and talking about like the culture shocks and things that happen as a Japanese player. It's super dope because like it's like you go to Spain from Japan, it's culture shock. Those guys do not play around with their football. They're like, yo, you're just stealing money from our squad. Get the fuck out of here and go back to Nippon. Type beat. They're like that. I don't think people really understand how unhinged football fans really are across the globe. Part of the reason why I don't really mess with them. I'm like, you guys are actually insane. Like, just straight up start fist fighting in the bleachers. Like, are you good? Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not unhinged like that. I'm not saying I'm not unhinged, but not like that. He grasped in the Amari match when it's also my favorite. Something about Ashita moving towards the middle moves me tremendously. When he's going up to attack, I like it every time, and I like when he gets the chance to score too. Because when he got scored those 2 goals, and he was starting to become that dude. It was great, man. I love it. Ryoma is great. You'd look at him like the guy said you had to escape from the citation speed. Exactly, exactly. Sadabel in Primera is a retcon, but I see why he do it. I hear you. Sorry. Let me just go into my memory archives and make sure I'm not forgetting anything that I wanted to mention before I kind of just go off topic and we just talk about whatever at this point. But I wanted to contrast and compare these two a lot because I think there's a lot of interesting things about them both being kind of coming around similar times and them being football oriented, them having main characters that focus on kind of like using their playmaking and ability to read the game and vision in order to whatever. But I could talk about some of my favorite character for a long time in Blue Lock was Ego, but I ended up liking the dark skinned dude with the horns who played with Rin's brother on the U20 team. I call him Demon Kun, the one who got electric shocked. He's probably my favorite. Then I'd probably go with I think somebody reminded me of Olivier, the defender from the U20 team. I like him. He's cool. I like Dribbler Kun, Dribbler Merchant, but Chidu, he's alright. Then the Speed Merchant, the princess, red hair princess. I probably put him next. I don't like Ichigo, but low key, it's low key, cause yo, it's Kylian Mbappe, bro. He played for PXG, bro. What you know about PXG though? And God Sprint. I'm a pace merchant. I love fast niggas. Okay, that's why Gareth Bale let me down. I thought Gareth Bale was gonna be the one. So,
Yay!
I mean,
お兄ちゃん、
cool.
peace,
Thank you for the
peace.
subscription, my boy. Been here for 27 months. Jesus Christ, I appreciate you, man. I don't know. That was so tiny, but yeah, yes, sir. I could my vote. Yeah. If I had to build an actual team based off Blue Lock players, how am I doing it? That's interesting. That's content. I like that. I'd probably still do the thing where like I think. Oh, before I forget, I like that they actually coach in Aoashi. One thing that I notice with a lot of sports is they don't be coaching like that. They don't be coming up with schemes mid game to counter schemes and stuff like that. I like that they actually coach in that. I think
Yay!
Ego,
お兄
when
ちゃん
he was coaching Blue Lock, he
peace.
kind of like did the generic like I make some subs and whatever, and he didn't really like whatever. But I like that they actually coach. But yeah, I'd probably do the things where I have to assess like what's his name, Gagamaru, the weirdly athletic acrobatic guy, like. And keepers are usually very tall, like 6'6" and above type beat. So like yeah, like I'd probably just assess them like that by their skill set and put them where they need to be. If you're like maybe big and fast and strong but not super technically sound, like the number 3 guy who's like very shy, I'll probably put him as a defender because he can stay on you and you can't really lose him. So I'd probably build my team in that sense. But all I know is my leading striker would be Demon Kun. Demon Kun would be my like poacher, fox in the box, classic 9, false 9, whatever. I probably have him there because he's the one there. So yeah, the second half in Mori was a masterclass with coaching. Absolutely, they brought a step up from random Liverpool and Watford game to show off defensive tactics. I was hollering. Oh yes, I remember. That's what it was. Absolutely, I forgot they did that. We were talking about Klopp and his pressing and stuff. Yes, absolutely. I'm not a huge soccer guy, so I was shocked when the keeper moved up that far. There are some like Jacko. If I'm off on this, you can steer me this way because keepers weren't something I paid attention to for a lot for a long time. He's a Liverpool fan. That's just unfortunate. Um, he's from the UK actually. Is he from there? I always forget he's actually like he's not a real American. He's faking the funk. I say real American like I'm American. I'm not American, but damn, yeah. I forgot. I totally lost my train of thought. What was I thinking? Watford. Yeah, that was funny to me. And oh yes, keepers back in the day didn't have to be technically sound like that. They just had to be good at saving and whatnot, and maybe have a big kick. But now they're taught to be a lot more technically sound because they're gonna have to pass back, and sometimes you get like very specific keepers who have a dope skill set. Like some of them might actually be a free kick long ball specialist. I don't remember the dude's name who was like really over the top with the scorpion kick and he did the most. He like made goalkeeping fun and flashy. But sometimes some of them are good enough. They can't, especially if you're like losing. Let's say it's like the 90th minute. You have 6 minutes of stoppage time. The keeper will go up sometimes, and you'll play a legitimate 11 in the offensive attacking half of your opponent's team. So that's not unusual. It's not unusual. It happens sometimes. I've even my keepers have sometimes when we're like down 1 goal and the game's getting close, comes up way further. And some keepers generally like to be out the box and be more involved in the game from a technical standpoint. So not until Pep for real. Now Neuer is the first and only original sweeper keeper. There you go. There you go. Nair, where you also want to move when glasses man with the blindness started talking ish about how only God gives you what you can handle while trying Isagi with his hopium ass. I was so happy he failed utterly because nothing good would have come from him succeeding. I was so sure they're gonna borrow him to succeed, but like, no, get him, like kick him out the facility. He's not the guy. He's blind. He can't see. This guy cannot become the GOAT. I was tremendous. Hold on, let me drop the emoji. I was tremendously unmoved. Yeah. I won't lie to you. The glasses guy, because I'm a pace merchant, who has really good acceleration, but not a great as of top speed as the princess. He's stupid. He'll say like, "Oh yes, I have to defeat my onions." Did I say that right? Did you mean opponents? Yeah, I had to ascertain. Did you mean ascertain? Like he's like not smart. I like him. He's funny too. So. I'm happy that I've actually like I can't like I think Giant Killing was the last football manga I read and had any type of fun with. So I'm glad that I have Aoashi right now, man. I'm here for it. Excited to see where it's gonna go, and I want to see when I hope he eventually gets called to play in the international stage. I'm very excited for that, and I wonder if Ashito will leave Japan to play pro at some point. I could see that series going like both 600 chapters, all things considered. So it could be a long series, but. Thank you to everybody who kept kind of pushing me to like read these. I always say I thought Aoashi and Blue Lock were actually the same series because for a long time I know Ao means blue. I really learned that from Kuroko with Aomine, Mura for purple, and Murasaki Bar and stuff like that. But I thought Blue Lock was just the Japanese name for Aoashi for a long time. But I'm happy I read both. And Aoashi is the best football manga that I've ever read, and that video will come out at some point. Let me see now. Oh, it really is entering files. Oh, never mind that. Now keepers took the sweeping role because of the hyper pressing system. They need to be technically sound to keep possession. Guys like Neuer, Stengen, and EPL watches Ederson and Ramsdale come to mind. No, it's you're right, and it's something that I notice a lot more because I'm openly transparent that like the older I got and the more busy I had with things. One thing that I gave up quickly was watching sports. Now I've always loved football on the international stage, so I'm always gonna watch Euros. I'm always gonna watch Olympics. I always watch like Copa America and stuff like that. And why I watched like the World Cup, but I would say 2018 seriously. No. What year did Ronaldo go to Juventus? 2018, 2019 when he went to Serie A. That's like the last season I really kind of looked at it, and I've seen how much the game has modernized since then. So I am actually playing a little bit of catch up. It's the same thing with the NBA. Like I'm from like the 2000s era of like in out, you bang it low, mid range, long twos, whatever the case is. So when I stopped paying attention and came back, and I'm like, why do you guys just chuck in threes? I have to play a little bit of catch up. So I am low key doing that, but I have noticed that. So. Yep. Oh, talk about Lord, bro! Don't bring that guy up. I'm about to relive the World Cup and get angry. I don't like him. I don't rate him. Oh my god, I don't like him. The game almost forces Ten Hag to not really build from the back because he's mediocre at distribution. From what I can tell, Casemiro really helped turn that team around, and Rashford being informed too. Because Rashford, a lot of times when I think he's playing well, I think he tends to get hurt. Maybe I'm misremembering that, but. I have been enjoying watching club football again. I'm still spread a little thin, and I'm trying to do my best to kind of like watch everything. But I won't lie, I have mostly been watching EPL and Liga. And but the league that I watched the most has always been La Liga. La Liga is what I've always watched the most. I guess an EPL. The one that I don't really watch, I never really ever watched seriously was Bundesliga. I'd watch certain games like if Dortmund's playing, and I feel like I'm Bayern Munich's biggest hater. It's got to be me. And Liga, I never used to really watch. I used to watch a little bit of CDA, especially when Phenomena was coming up and everything. But I kind of mostly just watch La Liga and EPL. But I've been watching a lot of Liga. I've been actually enjoying watching Rennes play aside from PSG, and I've been enjoying watching Frank. I almost did it again. Frankfurt. I always say Frankenfurt first, and then I say Frankfurt. But Colo's my guy though, so I like Colo. I like French players a lot, and you see African descent. I like French players a lot. So Moani's my dude. I've been enjoying watching him, especially after he has the save from Martinez stuck in his head. I like that he's playing well. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Rashford was playing injured last 2 years. Casemiro was a godsend, and sending Maguire on the bench. Also, Jacko, I think it was you that I said this to on Twitter. I was tripping that day. I was like emotional and I was mad. So like, no, don't take that too seriously. You were right about Ronaldo. My general point was that like I still think he has enough skills and really good to like play at a high elite level, but you'd have to find a specific role where he's not disturbing the team too much because Portugal played with a different type of zeal and freeness and whatnot when he wasn't on the pitch. And me having seen him play in Saudi a couple times and me watching him now, he's not the same player he used to be. It's not that he's not good. It's not that he can't do stuff. It's not that he can't do stuff, but he's old. He's got a lot of mileage too. So I do want to. I forgot to. I forgot. I don't remember if I already told you that, but just my bad on that. You were right. He's not. He would not have been the best player in Portugal in that sense. Barca and incoming 300 financial levelers in 5 years. Barca from what I've seen been playing well. I haven't watched him. I haven't. I'll take my W. Thank you very much. Look at him. He did it. Yo, Balgum's been going crazy too. By the way, I've been enjoying watching him play. In Germany, they have some kind of Stockholm syndrome with Bayern. They think Bayern winning 10 leagues in a row is a necessary evil. It's not. It's not raw. It's not raw, dude. It's because the rules make it easier for other clubs to strengthen Bayern on signing outside. Balogun's not coming up, but this league is exactly what brought most of the revolution along with Pep to modern football. I'll take. There you go. Yeah. So kudos to you on that, bro. I will. I am always mad enough to admit when I'm fucking wrong. Because what's the first thing I did when Messi won the World Cup? What did I tell? What did I say? He's a goat. I lose. It is what it is. I'm not. I've never been a delusional Ronaldo fanboy, if you will. Though I was probably a delusional Thierry Henry one. I was younger, so I'm giving myself a cop out. But if you don't know, Thierry Henry's the first player I ever fell in love with. I loved watching that guy play, and I still love watching him play, watching him talk and analyze the game. And I do not think Mbappe is faster than him. I like, but peak for peak, prime for prime. I think Henry's faster than him. I really mean that. I really mean that. You're a Ronaldinho kid. I I feel like I'm the Brazilian. I'm the Brazilian hater. I feel like I hate on Brazilians, low key. That's what I think. You're Gerard. Yeah, feel it. Feel it. Did you also have a good laugh when Blue Lock literally introduced wholesale stock evaluation? Yeah, that was funny. I also laughed at Chris Prince being very unserious. I'm like, who's he supposed to be? Like Ronaldo, ego. Like I think some of them like you could tell. Like I actually got the Griezmann thing from Noah for some reason. I think they said he's a mixture of someone else, him and someone else. I don't remember the other ones. I really don't remember them. I'm so sorry. Kaiser and blah blah yada yada. But like I saw like low key, I'm like, okay, that's Mbappe. I'm like, who the hell is Chris Prince supposed to be? And I looked at somebody and someone was like, he's Harry Kane. I'm like, no, the fuck he is not. He's not Harry Kane. No, the fuck he is not. Reddit, you dumbass. I don't. Well, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I don't believe that. Shout out to the Patreon gang. Because of y'all, I don't gotta consume ice soup every day. Y'all ever ate ice soup? Y'all never had no ice soup. Anyways, shout out to the CVL. That's the certified BAM lovers. Shout out and salute to the Priest of Fire. That's the real CBL certified Brilliant lovers. But the biggest and largest thanks to the fifth Zen gods, my tier 3 pledgers. That's Big Abdel, Tris, Fitz, Irene Sharda, Jacob Holland, Johnny Rogers, Lazy Dragon, Lucky Roo, Revenant, Scobe, Silo, Simi. He got a Twitch now. Go follow him on Twitch. Sunny Katha Polly and Zodiac Nemiko. You guys, your support is greatly appreciated because I'm tired of eating ice soup, man. I'm tired of it.